Miami! To mission control, we have liftoff. Phinhub! Phinhub! We talking Dolphin City! Phinhub, Phinhub! Yeah! It's that Dolphin Show! Phinhub!
Welcome to the Phinhub Show, the one NFL podcast you can't leave off your roster. Now here's your host, Joey and Kevin Tejido.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Phinhub Show, powered by BetUS. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure to check out BetUS and use code YouTube150 for 150% bonus on your first deposit. The next two will be for 125% bonuses. So make sure to check out BetUS and take advantage of that offer using code YouTube150. So the Miami Dolphins played the Buffalo Bills yesterday, and I walked away very impressed with the Dolphins, even though they didn't come out with the win. The Bills obviously did their thing. Josh Allen had a pretty decent game, but even still, Tua was able to do his own thing and keep the Dolphins in the game with the offense, distributing to the right guys. He was able to get Tyreek Hill involved. Jalen Waddle got involved later on in the game, and Devon Achane was a nightmare for the Bills. We even saw him use the tight end a little bit with Jonnu Smith out there too. So the Miami Dolphins did a really good job on offense. Even the offensive line had a pretty decent game. It was really that defense that spoiled that victory for us. If it wasn't for that Jordan Poyer pass interference call at the end on a 3rd and long situation, I think the Miami Dolphins walk away with that game, or at least take that game into overtime. And whoever gets the ball first, I think, ends up winning that game.
Yeah, well, unnecessary roughness on that call.
Right, it was unnecessary roughness, you're right.
Which, it's very, it can go either way with that call. I think that I prefer that as a no call. I think when you do it frame by frame, it wasn't catchable. I mean, it was catchable, obviously. He just didn't catch it. It was already popping out when Poyer went for the hit, you know what I'm saying, which I saw. Other than that, though, I was impressed with the performance. I mean, usually we go into Buffalo and it's whooping. Oh, sorry. Beep that out. And, this time around, the Dolphins kind of hung in there. We actually had control of the game. Offensively, we were fantastic. I thought the way that balanced attack that we had with the run game and the pass game, feeding off of the run game and the pass game, I thought Tua was lights out. Yeah. I thought he couldn't have played a better game, Obviously, the only way he could do better is if he's ripping it every play and he's getting touchdowns, right? But the way you're supposed to play this Bills team is to drain the clock, right? Have nice time of possession, run all over them, and then, score. And I felt like we were doing a really good job of that. The only miscue we had basically was that Raheem Mostert to start the second half, that Raheem Mostert fumble, which we were driving on them as well. So you take that away and, you don't fumble the ball there. It looks like we probably came out with a win, and this is a completely different conversation that we're having today about the outlook of the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I walked away pretty surprised by that game and feeling a little bit more optimistic about the season. And I don't really know if that's going to amount to anything because there really isn't a lot of time left. I think the Dolphins would have to just win out here, like Tua was saying.
Run the table.
They're going to have to go for that if they really want to make the playoffs here, and that's not going to be easy, obviously. Tua did do a great job throwing for 231 yards, went 25 for 28. 2 out of the 3 incompletions on Tua's part were throwaways, so that was also impressive. Tua was basically perfect in that game. Also threw for 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen went for 235, 25 for 39, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. So a pretty decent game for Josh Allen too.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you that other incompletion. Do you remember what it was? Because I forgot.
I don't. Yeah. I would have to check it out. But yeah, Tua did have a great game. He was surgical. He was doing his thing, and I loved the game that Mike McDaniel called, running the ball. I was talking to Reason a little earlier today, and he was telling me that's the best performance, as a head coach, best performance he's seen from Mike McDaniel with his tenure on the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, which was a perfect game, I think he called, right?
It was great. I mean, the way that we were able to move the ball up and down the field, I thought that was amazing, and it's unfortunate that the defense, coughed it up for us there.
It's unfortunate. The last 2 weeks, we're getting these 27 points each week, I think, right? Whatever. And the defense is now, lacking, which they were actually keeping us in games while Tua was out, and then now they're kind of like giving away games while Tua's back. So it's unfortunate that, Mike McDaniel and Tua are getting things rolling on offense, which we've been waiting to see the whole year, the last 2 weeks, and now the defense is kind of pooping the bed, so.
What's interesting is how Tua has really, I think this year, turned the narrative on at least his play as a quarterback.
Yeah.
He still has those health concerns, obviously, and it may even be worse than it ever has been at this point because now it's a guaranteed issue with him and his concussions. But his play as a quarterback when he is healthy, look, you cannot argue this anymore. Like, Tua is a really good quarterback, and when he's out there, the offense is that much better.
Yeah.
Like, it's night and day. We were unbearable to watch, and Tua has turned this into something fun again, at least. We're able to watch football these last 2 weeks.
It's a watchable product out there.
And Tua, the last 2 weeks, has left the field with the lead.
That is a good point. I didn't think about
Tua
that. That's
left
true.
the field against the Arizona Cardinals with the lead, doesn't get a chance to come back and attack the Cardinals for the win.
With the lead or a tie. Because the Bills game he left the field with a tie.
Right. He left the field with a tie against the Bills.
Give him the opportunity, and he's probably going to lead them to a.
So, I find that pretty interesting. But either way, the Dolphins do have to do something about this. Mm-hmm. The offense is looking so much better, but this defense now, and I think there's so much that goes into this. Look, we were asking for one stop. That's all we needed. We almost had it. We were just one play away. A couple seconds away from getting the ball back, and it takes a long field goal by one of the worst kickers in the league right now.
Well, it's funny you said that, right? One play away, and you're referring to the Jordan Poyer penalty, right? Because that was 3rd and 12, 3rd and 14, maybe?
I want to say 3rd and 9, maybe?
Whatever, even 3rd and 9. Okay, yeah, 3rd and 9, because I think we gave up that offsides, right? Right before that. But yeah, man, it was one play away, and that call, there was 3 different calls in the NFL on the same exact play. One of them was an ejection. The other was a no call. And then this one was the unnecessary roughness penalty. Mm-hmm. So it's an inconsistent call that I think the NFL needs to be able to review in the future, just to, especially in a crucial moment of a game, right? Because now you're essentially giving them that drive to take that win in a division game. Our season's basically on the line. And, they kind of muffed that there.
I hear you. If you look at it from Jordan Poyer's stance, I know it's one he wants to take back. I think as a veteran, that's a play where you do not want to be in a situation where you're leaving it up to the refs. Yeah. And whether he leaned in with his shoulder, leaned in with his helmet, I think it's one of those situations where you go forward maybe with your hands. Make sure you get the hands and you try to make a play.
Lean back and push.
I don't know. I think there might have been a better, and I'm sure Jordan Poyer has the answer, but I think there's a better approach to making a play in that situation where you don't leave it up to the refs. And I think that's, as a veteran, that is something that you need to do.
What I will say, it's easier said than done, right?
Of course.
I mean, we're saying this from the couch, saying, oh, I could have done that better, right? Obviously, we can't. There's a reason why these guys are out there. As a competitor, I see it. He's rushing the guy like, I'm going to pop him. I don't want him catching this ball. I'm going to jar it loose. Best way to do that is with your shoulder. You're not going to go in like this, because then what are you going to do? You're going to maybe break your arms. I don't know. I mean.
Well, I think maybe, look, I don't know. Either way, it happened. Jordan Poyer did get called, and it did cost us the game. And it really sucks because we had this one. This was a beautiful, beautiful game. It was fun to watch. The offense was clicking. Tua was on fire. I enjoyed the game, and that's something I haven't enjoyed a Sunday like this in a while.
Nah, man, the product hasn't been like that. And I want to touch up on something that you said, which to provide a little bit more context, or what you mean, because I think we mean the same thing here. Gave us a little bit more hope. And it's not necessarily just for this season. It's for, the future. And if Mike McDaniel is a part of this team, if Tua is going to be the franchise quarterback like he should be, now we know, okay, this was, not an anomaly, but, when Tua's not out there, it's it's not good, right? But when Tua is there, we have answered that question. We are a competitive team, and we can stand toe to toe with anyone, right? And it's been the question these last couple of years. Oh, can the Dolphins beat playoff caliber teams, or above 500 teams? And I think we answered that this week. We answered it against the Cardinals as well, which obviously they weren't a 500 team at that point, but it doesn't matter. The Cardinals are competitive this year. I think they're leading their division right now. I think as it stands, they would make the playoffs. So, I mean, it was a good team that we went toe-to-toe with, and we lost in the last second 2 weeks in a row. But, yeah, I'm looking at the future as well. Like, if McDaniel and Tua stick around and we just shore up a couple things, get a better backup quarterback, and, we'll knock on wood again just in case Tua gets hurt again. But, yeah, I'm not blowing this thing up. I do want to see the rest of the season because crazier things have happened. I think the most relatable thing that's happened recently is the Packers going 2-5. I know we're 2-6, and they were still able to make the playoffs, get a playoff win. So their product last year in the first 7 games, everyone was probably trashing them too. But we played 2 really good competitive games, and let's see, man. We have a schedule coming up. I'm not saying it's favorable. I don't want to say anything about it, but there are games there that we can win. And, the rest is history. So, let's see.
So the Dolphins do have their next 4 games will be against the Rams, the Raiders, New England, and Green Bay. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What's going to be the outcome of the next 4 weeks? Do we go 4-0? Do we go 3-1? You guys let me know in the comments. Write it down there. And I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins running the table on this one, at least for the next 4 weeks. I really liked what I saw against the Bills. I think it's going to be tough against Green Bay. Obviously, the Rams have been much better as of late. Raiders and New England, I really like our chances there. But it's really going to be up to the Rams and Green Bay. I think if you lose against the Rams, a lot is going to happen very fast. Yeah. We also have the trade deadline coming up. From what we've heard, the Miami Dolphins will not be sellers. They will, in fact, be buyers. So I find that very interesting. I wonder who it is that they have their eye on. I know the Dolphins do need to make some decisions on defense because we are lacking a lot there.
Yeah.
I think I said this last episode, and I said this on an Instagram post. I've said it on Twitter too. The top 5 defenders for the Miami Dolphins right now, I think most people would agree, would be Ramsey, Holland, Sealer, Chubb, and Phillips. Out of those 5 top defenders, 4 of those were out.
It's crazy.
And I think that Phillips is out for the season. Chubb still hasn't played this entire season. We don't know if he comes back, although Mike McDaniel said today that he is optimistic that he will come at some point this season. But at that point, would it be too late? I don't know. Javon Holland has been very injury-prone lately.
Yeah.
Zach Sealer has actually been an Iron Man for us. And if it wasn't for him having an orbital fracture in practice, of course, that's going to happen to the Dolphins. He's missed the last 2 weeks, but he is optimistic to return this week against the Rams.
Not to mention Cater Kohu
was also out. So the Dolphins are really operating on defense very shorthanded.
Yeah.
We don't have depth. We don't have our guys out there. And it's really hard to put out what you expect when you don't have your guys out there.
Yeah.
So context there for the defense, but all in all,
we don't want to make any more excuses. That's not what we're trying to do here. Just providing a little bit of context as to what the Dolphins are going out with on a week-to-week basis. And I think it is hard to overcome. I mean, like you said, out of the top 5 players, you got 4 of them missing on defense. That's pretty significant, man. And
it is.
To see, I guess you can't really be surprised to see the defense struggling now with all those injuries. So maybe we give Anthony Weaver a break with the product the last couple weeks. Hopefully these guys can start trickling in, coming back. Javon Holland maybe coming back from injury, maybe Sealer, and we could see a better product out there. And like we said, run the table. Hopefully, as a Dolphins fan, you have to, of any sports team, right? You want to be optimistic. I don't want to be pessimistic about this team this season. And what we've seen the last couple of weeks, I think we're seeing that the Dolphins can get it done and they can go toe-to-toe with anyone. Right. So, I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibilities that we can win the rest of the season and make the playoffs. So it'll be nice to see.
Yeah, I agree. Our top 5 PFF performers for Week 9 were Ramsey, Brewer, Achane, Tua, and Teron Armstead.
Yeah, not surprising at all there. And in recent weeks, I've seen Brewer as one of the top centers in the NFL right now. So what the Dolphins are really good at doing is evaluating the center position off of other people's, other teams, guys that they're kind of on the fence about.
Right.
We bring them in and they just become studs. So if Greer's doing one thing right, it's that. And, the line has been surprising these last couple of weeks as well. I'm not saying that we have it figured out on the line. We should probably make some upgrades soon. But Teron Armstead's playing fantastic. Obviously, our center and Brewer's playing great. Austin Jackson had a solid game. Eichenberg's looking serviceable. And so is Jones. So let's see.
Well, yeah, hopefully we can continue to see some better performances from the Miami Dolphins like we had against the Bills, but hopefully they result in some wins here. So Rams, Raiders, New England, and Green Bay up next the next 4 weeks. Let's see what the Dolphins can do. If you guys haven't already, make sure to check out BetUS and use code YouTube150 for 150% bonus on your first deposit. That's YouTube150 for that 150% bonus. But that's going to do it for today, guys. If you haven't already, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Fins up.